Hi, everyone. At home, everyone at home. Thank you guys so much for joining the Elephant in the Room live stream. This is our 5th live stream. We've done a few live streams with organizations like BSU, GSA, MSA, and so this is going to be our first live stream with teachers, which is like really, really exciting. We've been planning this one for about a month and we're so pumped. And we know that you guys know at home that mental health is something that's really important to Elephant in the Room, and we've talked a lot about student mental health with those respective organizations. So we think it's super important that because teachers are kind of one of our more immediate support systems, that we kind of have that perspective, that faculty perspective on mental health. And so that's kind of the goal of this live stream, is to like break down barriers between teachers and students so that we can have a more open-minded community. And so, yeah, we have a really amazing panel of teachers with us today. And so I cannot be more excited. So we're going to give the teachers an opportunity to introduce themselves really quickly. If you guys see, you might have heard us doing our little icebreaker at the beginning of the live stream, but we all have our names and we have kind of like a crazy profession that we would want to do that is like somewhat unrealistic, but like still kind of fun. So we're going to give the teachers an opportunity. They're going to say their name, what subjects they teach, and what their profession would be. And so we're just going to try and do this really quickly so that we can go ahead and start the panel. But I'm just going to go in order of how I see the teachers on my screen. So Ms. Ha, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Ms. Ha. I teach science, and a crazy job, if I weren't a teacher, would be a TikTok dancer.
Yes, love it. Okay, next up on my screen is Miss McCort.
Hello, I am Miss McCort, and I teach AP Government, and I'm the yearbook advisor. And if I could, I would be a professional traveler and see the world.
Awesome. And then I've got Miss Sheaff.
Hi, everyone. I'm Miss Sheaff, and I teach English and freshman seminar. And a cool job, if I wasn't a teacher, would be a hotel owner, but it's a hotel for dogs and people living in harmony together. Thank you.
Y'all write that down. It's like Earth Haven, like seriously. And then next on my screen is Miss Lucia.
Hi, I'm Miss Lucia. I teach dance and yoga. And this was really hard for me because I really don't know what I'd do if I wasn't dancing, but I think I would be working outside with animals on an animal reserve.
Nice. And then next up we have Miss Mo, Miss Oliver.
Hi, I'm Mrs. Mo. I'm excited to be here. And if I weren't a teacher, perhaps I would be outside as well. And I think that might lead me to being a park ranger.
Love it. And then we've got Mr. Mann.
Hi guys, I'm Mr. Mann. I teach history and some other stuff. And if I wasn't teaching and I had a ton of athletic ability, I would be playing professional water polo in Europe. And then I guess without that athletic ability, I would be coaching.
Nice. And last but not least, we've got Mr. McKeon.
Hi everyone, my name is Mr. McKeon. I teach all 12th grade English classes. I was saying earlier that if I was to have any job that wasn't a teacher, fulfilling my childhood dreams of becoming an international reconnaissance professional, a spy.
You guys can't see it, but like we have spy kids in our chat right now. So that's what's going on behind the scenes if you guys are curious. Okay, so we're going to start off this live stream with a more serious topic because February was kind of a really heavy month. For DHS, we lost a DHS senior, Anix Sinaja, and then we also lost the head custodian, Mr. Derek Rosas. And so what we want to do really quickly first is have a moment of silence for both of them. So I'm going to go ahead and mute, and we're going to share the silence in honor of them. Thank you all for sharing that moment of silence in honor of Nick and Mr. Rosas. And so we're going to go ahead and start off this live stream kind of discussing the idea of grief, because I think it's something that's super important. Whenever a tragedy happens like this at Dublin High, I feel like especially for teachers, there's kind of a pressure for them to handle it correctly and kind of support the students, because it's so hard because students are going through things all the time, but we have to understand that teachers are too. So we kind of want to open it up to you teachers to talk about how tragedies like these impact either kind of when you're teaching in the classroom, or not your personal life, but just how do you manage it, and what kind of healthy lifestyles do you have to kind of develop in order to manage these and best support your students. So anyone can go ahead and unmute and talk, and then after that, it's just going to be kind of free for all, so anyone can unmute.
Okay, I'll go first. This is my 18th year at Dublin High. And we've lost a lot of kids. We've lost students during the year. We've lost graduates right after they've graduated. We, a few years ago, lost a student before she even made it to us, and it really did have a huge impact on that class. It's challenging. I think it's become more challenging for me as a mother. It definitely changed for me, having my own kids, and thinking of losing any students is really challenging. I think for me, I just try not to hide it from the kids, that it affects me, that it, I tell the students it hasn't been a year with Miss McCort if I haven't cried in class. So that's what happens. Whether it's our own students, or even tragedies that have happened, in our own country. Sometimes I think it's good for students to see that teachers grieve too, that they're emotional and that they cry. And it's been a few hard weeks. And I think it's harder, right now, being in front of a computer too, and trying to manage through grief. So I would say I've just, I cried after Nick. I cried in class with students that I feel like it's hard to connect with because we've been on the screen. But I think the response I got from them is they value that and the honesty. And so I think it's like you need to let it out sometimes, right? You can't bottle it in. Followed so closely with Derek's loss. That one hit me harder. I have worked with Derek for 15 years and worked closely in my job as lead teacher, as tech coordinator, and then yearbook. And that one, I almost tried to shut down. Like I couldn't, I was so in denial when I got it that I just was like, I'm not going to feel right now. And then it hit me later that night. And I was like, God, you can't bottle it up. So I think that's the biggest thing is like, I find that I have to let myself cry and grieve and be honest with the kids about it. And I think trying to bottle up makes it worse. And I think I did that when I was younger teaching because I didn't know how to deal with it. And I think just as you get older and you get more secure in who you are, I'm like, so I cried in class today. I mean, that's just the way it is, right? And so I think the more that you're okay with processing your own emotions and not being afraid of them, I think it's good for my students to see that.
And we are going to have a portion later on in the live stream. I know Ms. McCort touched upon how difficult it is to connect with students over Zoom. So part of the live stream is going to be on that subject. But if any of the other teachers want to add on to what Ms. McCort was saying about grieving in front of your students, letting them know it's okay to grieve too, or kind of different coping mechanisms you guys have developed over the years, feel free to add that.
I think I do want to emphasize what Ms. McCort was saying there as well, that just we're all humans trying to navigate really difficult things during normal years. We've lost people in the past and it's been really difficult, but now the separation of actual human existence while we're trying to go through these really difficult things. It dawns on me, today's actually the 4-year anniversary of my mom passing. And like Miss McCort says, like every year I am grieving in front of my students. My first year, those poor kids saw me going through hell and back. My second year got to relive that. My third year, this is the first year I've found that I actually haven't shared that with my student. I've talked about it. It's not like I'm hiding anything, but I do want to really give everyone pause and encouragement to like focus on the fact that what we're doing is not normal. While we may have like normalized this like existence on Zoom, and I know you said we were going to touch on it, as it relates to grief, like today might be totally fine and tomorrow might be really, really difficult. And the nature of the whirlwind of digital learning and connecting means that like there are even less rule books in play. So you know, as we especially battle grief, I would say the biggest thing is to reach out, maybe make those connections that you have been not avoiding, but it's easy to forget about. Maybe make that extra FaceTime call, do that extra like nice thing for yourself, right? Like humanize this experience that has like really been taken from us. As we go through grieving the loss of people on campus, as we go through grieving maybe people in our personal life, and as we go through grieving what life should be, right? Not especially for my seniors who aren't getting their senior year. I think it's okay to grieve that, right? So I think I just wanted to highlight what Ms. McCort was saying and throw that in there.
Yeah, I'm kind of adding to the conversation about handling grief, and then, you know, also being a teacher and being with your students. I think another layer too, in addition to like right now, obviously Zoom, like going through this past couple months over Zoom with our students was definitely challenging because I remember telling my classes after Nick passed that usually, you know, when we walk into the room as or we're already in the room. When you all walk into the room normally in a normal year, we can like sense the energy in the room. And not saying like, oh, everybody feels the same way, because that's another thing. Every student is going to be processing a tragedy in a different way. But like when everybody comes into the room, you can kind of sense an energy, and we kind of like play off of it a little bit. We want to both be authentic to us. I love what Ms. McCort was saying about like, yeah, crying in front of your students. Like that's where you're at. Yep, yes, me too, me as well. But like, so honoring your authentic feelings, and then also holding space for all the different reactions all your students are having, because they are so widely different where they're all coming from. And that is tough to do over Zoom. But yeah, I think as a teacher, I guess I'll bring up, this is sort of maybe a challenge, is trying to hold space for everybody, to honor everybody's process, because everybody's going to be processing their grief differently. Grief doesn't have a timeline. So, you know, some tragedy that happened could be reminding a student of something else that happened years ago. And then grief is compounding. And that's something on our minds as well as teachers.
I think since it looks like no one has anything else to add, we've already been touching upon the idea of teaching online and how that kind of transitions things really drastically when connecting emotionally with your students. So I think we can transition to the portion of our live stream that's focused on Zoom and teaching online. So Jacob's going to be leading that. But of course, if you have anything else to add about grief and the discussion that just happened, feel free to do that at any point in the live stream. But so Jacob has a few questions on teaching online and distance learning. So.
All right, hello, I'm Jacob, and I was just kind of wanting to ask you guys about how schools like on your guys' behalf through Zoom, through distance learning, because I mean, I know it's not necessarily easy for anyone. It's not easy on the students. I know for a fact it's not easy on you guys, but as students, we're only getting half the experience. We aren't sure what it's like for you guys and what you guys are experiencing exactly. So I was kind of wanting to know, like, how has like distance learning kind of almost strained or jeopardized your like relationships with students, and like how has it affected your style of teaching and the connections you make throughout the year? Like how's that changed this year? I know it's kind of a big question.
These are great questions. Thank you again for having us. So I'm brand new to the school. This is Mrs. Mo speaking, new drama and freshman seminar teacher. And I taught for 10 years in Oakland and was really excited to come here. Super different school. I've never, not even as a student, been at a school this big. My school in my hometown was small, and I taught at a small school prior to coming here. I've never seen any person on this screen in real life ever. Yet I've been working at this school and collaborating really closely with Miss Lucia for 9 months or however many months it's been since the beginning of the year. And that's insane to me. I'm a pretty extroverted person, thus becoming a teacher, thus becoming a drama teacher. And so the fact that like I literally know no one at this new school that I hope to be my home for a number of years to come is really jarring. And so then I'm putting on this like face to make connections with students who I know are yearning for the same thing that I'm yearning for. But like, I had this realization, sorry to take up so much time, but I love this anecdote. I had a young woman pick a monologue, and I asked her why she picked the monologue. And she was like, oh, I really connected with the character. And I was like, why? And she was like, oh, I'm really short. And this person was talking about how short she was. And I felt that struggle. And it was a humorous monologue. And I was like, you're short? No idea she's short. This is like this part of her identity that she's, connects to and wears out in the world. And I have only seen her from here up. I'm like, you all look like you could be 6 feet for all I know. And so, yeah, that anecdote obviously has a little bit of humor, but coated in some bittersweetness of being new to a place, feeling like a freshman, and I don't know, not knowing how authentic any of the connections that I feel like I'm making really are, because we've never shared real life together.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say I connect with a lot with what Mrs. Mo, because I'm also new to the school, and also teaching performing arts on Zoom is very difficult. So teaching dance and yoga, I think it's so important right now to continue pushing forward, doing things that are active, doing things that fulfill your heart and your soul, giving yourself self-care through things that you love. But as a teacher, it is very difficult to translate that. A lot of the time I feel like I'm facing away from my camera to give the kids a way for them to see me as if they were going to see me in the mirror in the studio. Like the mirror is not there anymore. It's just me in my living room, in my own family situation with my cats and my children. And we're all doing the best we can. And I feel very passionate about moving forward and just having students come to class, have a place to come, have a place to forget about everything else and just do whatever attracted them to come to that class. But I don't know how my relationships are with my students because I'm facing away from them all the time. I do spend a lot of time trying to do icebreakers, but icebreakers aren't always working, and here we are in the third quarter, and it's still very difficult just because of the nature of my class, and I have to keep my students on mute most of the time, so there's not a reverb with the music, which kind of provides this like fourth wall. And I'm always like trying to find new ways to kind of keep it going, and like where can we go with dance and video and creating, and how are we creating in this environment. But it takes everything always takes twice as long, and it already took twice as long before, I think, as an artist, because you're always trying to recreate the wheel, but there's no way to recreate it. You're just doing the same thing. And especially with dance, because you also have the technical side, and we can't jump and we can't turn, and kids don't have space, and they're feeling down about that. But I just really want them to see how much they do have, that they do get to take dance. And so it comes and goes, right? And I wouldn't do anything else. I'm very passionate about driving that cart forward and continuing to do it, because we need to come out of this with art in our pocket, because if we don't have art reflects life. And we're just going to come out of this with nothing. But it can be very draining, both for myself, and I see that for the students as well.
So I teach science. So teaching over Zoom has been really tough because science is a very hands-on subject. And so I think I'm very thankful for my coworkers trying to come up with new ways to do labs. So I feel bad for the students, because usually you want to do labs and make things explode and set things on fire, but you can't really do that through Zoom. You just have to watch stuff. So it's been tough for me, but I'm sure it's been tough for the students too, because they don't get that hands-on experience. And it's really difficult for like chemistry or even like human body systems. If you can't like see things or do them yourself, it's really hard to understand certain concepts. So it's been tough. It's been a huge learning curve for myself, and I'm sure my students too. And I think the hardest part is trying to build relationships with students. You know, I try my best, obviously. Like I've had Vivian in my class, and I could be a pushy teacher, but I can only do so much through Zoom or through a pandemic, because I have to really be considerate of other people's situations. So I think that's been really tough for me, trying to build relationships and build bonds with my students, especially since like passing periods are taken away, or like I just walk around everywhere. And just walking around, that's when I talk to my students. That's when I'm able to bond with them, and having that taken away, I think has been really tough. So yeah, that's my perspective. It's been tough. And and I'm sure other teachers can agree on that too. So just, thank your teachers if you ever see them, or try to talk to them. I'm sure they'll really appreciate it. Even like a hello in the chat, like have a great weekend or something, I think will mean a lot to them.
Hey, so sorry, testing my sound. Something totally agree with Miss Ha. Something kind of unexpected though from teaching on Zoom is, okay, so there's so much digital conversing going on. I know, like for everybody in all of their life, like socially with family, right? Everything's digital. But in class, you've got the Zoom chat going. You've got more email communications, and then you've got like Canvas messaging and like comments on Canvas. So with all of that like typed communication, I kind of found, this is kind of like, I guess, maybe like a silver lining type comment. Students who maybe are more familiar or more comfortable with like a chat communication, like maybe they have like a Discord with all their friends that's always going, or like they're always chatting, so they're super comfortable with it. I found like I've been able to maybe connect with students, maybe if in a classroom setting, it would have taken longer, but like because we can chat back and forth so much, like I'm always on the direct message, like checking in and like talking to people about random things. One of my students just recommended like this this murder mystery podcast that was really good, and then we were just chatting about it, and it's kind of trying to emulate, I guess, those discussions, you know, when your teachers come around when you're working and it's we're like, do you have any questions, but we're really just coming to like bother you and like talk to you about whatever. It's kind of a way to emulate that. So I found that was that's been a cool experience, is getting to know people that way. But you know, I can't deny, and like Anna or Miss Hall is saying, that there's a huge disconnect. You all are feeling it, we're feeling it, that difficulty to connect for sure.
I can agree with pretty much everything. I at least for yearbook, I do have the hands-on stuff. At least for Gov, it is, you know, what I miss the most is discussions, but I give props to all the teachers that are doing hands-on stuff over Zoom. Like, I don't know how you're teaching dance. I don't know how you're teaching drama. I don't know how you're teaching science. Like, I just can't imagine. I miss the discussions the most. I miss the questions the most, because I teach government, and we can't deny that we just went through a very interesting election cycle, and just I did get a lot of questions in the chat. It's just not the same. Like, students are, I think, zoomed out. I see it in my own children. I have a 4th grader and an 8th grader, you know, and they're even now starting to turn their cameras off in class. And I mean, it's hard, you know, trying to be all super exciting for the entire period when you're looking at the ceiling, when you're looking at people's screen that they have off. You're maybe seeing this much of their head. Sometimes I go, I don't even know if you're listening to me or you have me on mute. You know, it can be challenging. Like, you're just on this roller coaster of, you're trying to give it all, your all, trying to make the connections, and then you just go, okay, God, like, how much more energy do I have for this, is how I feel like that's the wall I've hit recently, is like, how much more energy do I have to keep bringing to Zoom, you know? And it's Zoom. I like to talk, but I don't like just hearing myself talk. Like, I like having conversations. I like hearing kids talking. And Miss Sheaff mentioned it earlier. I had a former student email me. She's at UC Davis now, and she's remote at UC Davis, but she's writing a paper about teachers in the pandemic. And she sent me a bunch of questions, and she asked me the thing that I missed the most. And I said, the thing that I miss most is the noise in my classroom. Because I am very fortunate that our district lets us go in to teach. I think that has been my saving grace. I teach in my classroom multiple days a week. I see my colleagues socially distanced and masked, but we see each other. And I mean, that honestly, that has saved me, being able to be in my classroom. But sometimes I sit in my classroom and it's just so quiet. And just the sound of kids coming in, the being able to determine if it's going to be a good day or a bad day, you know, them getting all fired up for, you know, it's Gale Force Spirit Day and they're all dressed up crazy in their tutus and face paint, or when they're all frantically cramming for their beloved test or quiz that they've got or something. I mean, it's just, I miss that. The anatomy shirts they come in dressed, I mean, those kinds of things. That's what I miss the most, is really the sound of school. And so it's challenging because, like I said, I have no problem talking. All of you that know me know that, but I'm kind of sick of hearing my own voice at this point. I want to hear other people. And I know students get shy on Zoom, and I don't want to put people on the spot. I know that not everyone likes to be on camera, so I'm not badgering them to be on camera. I'm not cold calling on people, because I know that is causing a lot of students anxiety, and not everyone's text the best. And so it's like, just trying to make everyone happy. It's a lot of juggling.
So I think this is a good transition to another one of our questions. So I think some teachers, like Mrs. McCord, you definitely mentioned like this, teachers have like sometimes a customer service smile that you guys have to have the energy to like teach kids. And it's also like,
I'm sure, especially I've noticed in my classes, I've seen cameras off and then or blank stares at the screen. And so seeing it from the teacher perspective, we're wondering, like, on tough days, how do you manage to talk to your students? And also, how do you happen to manage stress and lead healthy lifestyles when sometimes just teaching over Zoom is frustrating?
I can chime in about the frustration part, that's for sure. I teach history as well in kind of a accommodated setting. And so just like Ms. McCort, we try and really facilitate good discussions and things like that. But if Ms. Ha were to unmute herself and start talking right now, neither of us could really hear each other. The rest of the class couldn't hear it. And it's been super frustrating to be like, okay, you, James, you need to be quiet for a moment. And then we talk. And then by that point, the discussion isn't natural anymore. It doesn't have that same, just vibe to it. And I think that is one of the most frustrating parts about Zoom in general, right? And it's been really difficult to feel like I'm really teaching, to be honest. Like that part is such a struggle because I need to stop a lot. You guys might have seen my son Hudson is here with me. I'm with a 1.5-year-old who he runs this house, and I've got to try and teach 5 periods, and still be a good dad too. So I think that those struggles are they're super real and they are frustrating. And then at the same note, when you're talking about how do you find that energy, I have found this year to be extremely eye-opening into your guys' lives, into students' lives. I am in your bedroom and I can hear your mom telling you to go pick up your clothes or something like that. And, typically I don't hear that. I think your parents are perfect and they're doing the right thing all the time. And now I'm like, oh, wait a second. Your mom is kind of a jerk. And I don't say that out loud. I just said it to you guys, but I'm just like, these things are happening. And it gives me that like, okay, I can't be mean to, this student, not mean, but I can't like hammer this assignment to this student when I know that there's other stuff going on and I really know it now. And that has been super eye-opening, but it does bring me back to myself where I'm just saying, hey, if I've got to make sure that I bring some energy to this kid, because even though my physical classroom was this person's safe place, I need to make sure that my Zoom classroom feels just as safe and just as inviting, even though you're in your bedroom and mom and dad could open the door and yell at you at any moment. But I guess that's a lot of frustration. Was that venting too much? I'm sorry, guys. But that's a teacher frustration that I feel is kind of universal for some of us. My classes are smaller, so I really get to, I have to talk one-on-one with students all the time. And just seeing home lives that can be tough, and everybody's going through a pandemic, and we talked about grief earlier. There's a lot of that going around too. And it's really hard to bring that energy, but just reminding myself of how important you guys are to me, that does it. I wake up, I make the oatmeal for the little guy, and we hit our day running. That's all I got.
I think actually on that note, there was something that you highlighted that I really appreciate. It's where I get my energy when I'm in the classroom or on Zoom. It's stepping back and like humanizing the process again. Is one step. Like if you're in class, maybe we sit and for 20 minutes we're talking, and it's not like about the content, but actually it is, because I teach English, and as long as we talk, it's actually meeting the California standards. And on Zoom, for me, it's like, who has a dog near them right now? Like, show me your dog, or like, show me like who's been doing art while we've been talking or something. Like, show me the random doodles that you've done. And just like, oh yeah, like we're like just people trying our best. And so that's like, that is one component for me. Yeah, exactly. Like a stuffed animal, like, and suddenly one person shows their stuffed animal, it's a joke, but then everyone's showing their stuffed animals, and it's, I think it's fun for me. The other thing is sometimes I like to really try a weird and quirky lesson plan. And I have no shame telling my students, like, I've never done this before. We're going to see what happens. And generally speaking, fortunately, I have seniors. So they like to rip on me no matter what. But if I like trying something new, if it's successful, that feels so good. And if it's not, it still creates that human like connection. I will say this, I think I speak for all your teachers, anybody listening, like maybe challenge yourself tomorrow or the next day or Monday, whatever, and like reach out to your teacher in a way that like isn't about content. Like when we jump into your breakout room, we'd be like, hey, is everything cool? Maybe you're like, actually, let's talk about this weird thing. That'll make me, those are the things that give me like excitement. And like the thing I think Sheaff was talking about, going around to the rooms and being like, how are you? Really, we just want to bother you, right? And we want to know some random like facts. So if any students are out there listening, like I would love those random things. And it brings me energy in response to the original question.
I want to build on that too, like share like what you like to do with your teachers too, because last week I had a senior class meeting and Mr. D was there and he was all in a whoo because sports were now all of a sudden happening. Like we went from no sports to all the sports. And I knew that I had some students in one of my electives in Law and Society that were athletes. And so on Monday, I was asking them, I was like, so sports are happening. How do you guys feel about that? And students literally who never have said a word this semester in class unmuted and started talking about like, oh, I'm picking up my gear today and I'm going to be able to play football and baseball. And it was great just to hear them share things. And I think that the more you kind of are willing to share with your teachers, because I know you're all, or many are struggling out there and you're trying, it's hard to connect, but if the more you can do to help us too, like share what is your favorite food, or like when your teacher asks you, what's something fun you did this weekend? Like, tell us, we want to hear about it. Like, let's celebrate positive things together, and not have it be crickets, even if it's typing it in the chat, like sharing, what are your hobbies? What show did you binge watch? What book did you read? I love to hear that from my students, because generally, I know Ms. Sheaff mentioned this too. It's like, usually we overhear you talking about it and we're like, oh, I watched that show too, or I read that book too, or that's my favorite sports team too. Like you overhear that a lot in class and we don't get so much of that in Zoom. So share with us, tell us, I want to know all about you. So tell me. And I think that will make everyone be able to make some kind of connection with their teachers.
So another question we also had was, how can you notice if a student is struggling in your class, and how would you recommend the students to reach out for support if they needed some?
We are here waiting for you guys. Reach out. I mean, emails, anything that I'll set up separate Zoom calls. I think every teacher is here. You can tell. Look at these teachers' faces. They love you guys. And yeah, just reach out. I guess any way possible, it would work for me. And I feel like I speak for a lot of teachers that will go
your name and be like, hey, how are you doing? So I could tell by their facial reactions, right? And their responses. And usually if they're just kind of like, nah, or not laughing at my like really stupid jokes, it's like, something's wrong. So I would then reach out and be like, how are you doing? And my jokes are like, I think they're pretty funny, but I think they're laughing at me, not like with me. But that's how I could tell, like, ooh, they're having a rough day, or maybe they're struggling emotionally, or they're struggling in classes. So if I do notice that, which I have like a separate screen with everyone's faces. I know it's really creepy, but I do watch your faces and your reactions. I will reach out to them individually and check in with them.
Yeah, it's definitely, It's definitely harder to tell how like we've kind of been saying earlier, like kind of reading the energy in the room. It's harder to tell if somebody's going through a tough time if like nothing is said, right? Because it's, I mean, I know Ms. Ha was mentioning seeing facial expressions, but I know, like, you know, my 7th period English class, they've been through 3 classes, they've eaten lunch maybe, and they're just like, they're really, yeah, it's hard for them. So if I just went by their faces, they're all really struggling at, like, you know, 2:30 on a Friday afternoon. But so yeah, in addition to looking at faces, definitely with like the again, kind of like what I was saying earlier with the chat and like the electronic communication, sometimes it's easier to tell somebody that something's wrong when you're not face to face. Even when we were in person, I had students where I was like, how's everything going? In person, they'd say, I'm good, like I'm fine. And I was like, And then later I'd get an email about it from them. It was just easier for them to like bridge the gap electronically. So that's another thing to add. But yeah, it's definitely harder to see like what's going on without that like presence.
I felt like some of the most real or lifelike, for lack of a better term, conversations have happened through office hours. It feels more like regular life because you're not looking at like 1,000 boxes and like trying to figure out where the voice is coming from. You know, it's just you and the student, or from the student's perspective, you and the teacher. So just know that your teachers are A, available, but B, I lost my B. We're available, but like we want to have that interaction with you. We miss it, and it feels good for us. And C, it doesn't have to be about class. If there's a teacher you really trust and something's going on and you need resources, or you need an ear to listen to you, I'm sure that the vast majority of your teachers would be happy to hold space for you in office hours, especially if you like give them a heads up, like Sheaff was saying, with like an email, like, hey, had a really bad day, would love to talk to you in office hours. Then we can like make our office hours just for you that day so that no one else would be dropping in. So just know that office hours can be a tool, and that they can be mutually beneficial or mutually fulfilling.
Okay, and so now it's 4:45 and we have a special activity for you guys, because whenever you guys put us into breakout rooms, I think students have a certain opinion about breakout rooms. So just to kind of reverse the roles, we want to put you guys in the breakout rooms, yeah. And we have some questions for you guys. And when you come back, we'll have maybe a couple of you guys share. And also, there's also an exit ticket and I'll tell you the question now. It's, what is one final thing you want to tell students? I think a lot of you guys have already told us to reach out, and thank you for that. But yes, breakout rooms, I hope you enjoy, and I hope it's not awkward.
Also, Romir will be like kind of like jumping through you guys, so like the audience can also see like kind of your guys' interaction in there.
We'll be watching you. So don't try and turn your camera off. When we come in, if you guys automatically just start talking, we're gonna know.
Did you put the question in the chat, Vivian, so I can remind myself in the breakout?
Yes, I can do that.
We'll put we have like a bunch of breakout room discussion questions we'll put in the chat.
I think one of the questions is literally like what Mr. McKeon said, where he said, like, talk to your teachers about something that's not grade related. So I thought that was really funny that it was literally the exact thing that we had been planning to talk about in the breakout rooms. So when you guys are in the breakout rooms, and I have them all prepared, this is the first time I'm making breakout rooms, so we're gonna see if it goes well. But when you're thinking about what to talk about in the breakout rooms, I think it would be really fun to hear like what are some of your like guilty pleasures, like TV shows, books, like when you're telling students to like approach you guys with like those media like discussions, like talk about them here, and maybe if students are watching, they're gonna be like, oh my gosh, like Miss Mo likes this, so maybe I'll go to her office hours later and just like talk to her about it. So like that's something you could talk about in breakout rooms, because I know like all the questions that we had prepared for breakout rooms, you all like touched upon a little bit already. So like, yeah, I'm gonna hit open all rooms. I'm like the teacher side right now. This is kind of cool. Okay.
Danielle was shocked with the power that she has.
I know, so much power.
Too much power. Okay, here we go.
Bye.
Wow.
All right. Okay. So
oh wait, is it streaming us right now?
Yeah. So for
it is just
for the viewers, we're gonna let them sort of stew in their rooms for a little bit.
Yeah.
Go
and like give them the do they have the questions?
Yes, yeah, you can put them in the chat.
Yeah.
Okay, but does the chat change when they go in the breakout room?
No, you can look back at like previous messages and stuff,
Okay.
so that should be good.
Cool.
This is probably one of the coolest ones that we've done.
I know.
Yeah. We're going like 5 minutes from here, or?
I think it's like 2, right?
2 minutes? Okay.
I'm super curious. I want to like spy on them.
Yeah.
You can just tune into the stream from another tab.
Yeah, I think.
I can do that.
Everyone watching, what do you guys think? Do you think the teachers are like complete silence right now, or like they actually chatting? I don't know. Like.
Yeah, well, at 51 or so.
Also, can I just say like, to like when the teachers are talking, like, oh my, they're literally so like compassionate and selfless. Like when we were asking them to like share about their own struggles, they kept talking about how tough it was for us. Like,
yeah.
And that like broke my heart. Yeah. Like, I feel like no one really like gets to understands how compassionate and like just dedicated teachers really are. Like how much they truly care about us. I was like,
Yeah, I'm kind of wanting to maybe before or like right before the stream ends or something like that, like we can give like a special thank you to like kind of show them like that we actually appreciate it, and like I mean we all should be like taking what they're saying to heart and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, we can each go around and say something.
Yeah.
I think Ramir, now is a probably good time for you to hop in. But yeah, I definitely agree with you, Jacob.
Jacob and Vivian, are you guys going to be hopping in as well, or is it just going to be me?
I'm fine hopping in and around with them.
Okay, but I don't
I'll
have
try
an
to
option
be
for
in-
breakout rooms right now.
Yeah,
Oh,
I'll try to step in their shoes.
I can assign you guys. I'll assign you guys right now.
I'll try to step into their shoes and try to converse
Do we
with
all
them.
just want to go in and just?
just flood them. Not. We told them it was just going to be me. So.
Oh yeah, we did. Okay, I feel mean. I feel mean if I went in there. If we just told them it was you, so never mind.
Alright, sure, that's fine.
Bye, Romeo.
One time.
Bye, stream.
Adios.
We'll be back.
Oh, we're gonna be on.
Hello.
Okay, here we go.
We have a guest. We have a guest joining us for our. Yep.
We have little Hudson.
Oh.
We did go on a bit of a tangent. Okay, we
did.
started we were just congratulating each other on things, and like we were just like uplifting each other for a minute. So that's what was happening in here.
Yes.
We were talking about the upcoming play, but
yeah, excited.
But yeah,
I've definitely heard that the drama people, especially, they're definitely getting a bunch of their acts. Well, their acts together, I guess. Because I'm hearing a lot. Because I'm actually hearing from friends within drama about lots of like organization auditions, things like that.
yes.
Awesome. Yeah, we just had a round of auditions. They were really, we had a lot of people audition for 14 roles. We had to make some really tough choices. It was exciting to see so much enthusiasm.
Yeah, okay. So does this mean that you guys haven't addressed the questions in the chat yet?
We talked about one.
We did.
Yep.
Yeah, that's definitely
Going
been,
between the screens.
that's definitely been the theme of this whole discussion,
Yeah.
I guess. Like stuff outside of school?
I was hoping that on for my law and society class, one of my quizzes that I wrote, all of the names I used in the quiz were from Downton Abbey because I just finished binge watching all of Downton Abbey. I was hoping that at least one student would pick up on it, and they didn't. I'm like, come on, but it's okay.
So basically, we would love to talk with you all about movies and shows, getting your recommendations. Yes, because we're all watching way too much TV, I think. I mean, I guess I won't speak for everyone, but like, yeah.
No, I am.
So drama club, we get a lot of recs. So I will drop one that I started with my best friend last night. High School, the Musical, the series.
Oh,
Really?
yeah. Okay.
I had seen it. It's on Disney Plus, and I was like, oh, this is, probably lame. It's not. It's totally meta. It's very self-aware, and they have great voices. So High School, the Musical, the series.
Ooh, okay.
Now, is this High School Musical, the series, or just the musical, the series?
High School Musical, the series.
Oh, okay, yeah, definitely, because we all know that they're all the different versions with all their subtitles and stuff.
Iterations.
You know what? As an honest follow-up question to the first one, since you guys already addressed that, when I'm sure there is no way that you guys are not aware of the student side strategy of if we get them on a tangent, then we won't have to do like the exit ticket or whatever activity or whatever test we got going. So whenever we try to pull that stuff on teachers, number one, if you notice, how does that make you feel? And number two, do you feel like when we try to force it, is that us genuinely is that our strategy genuinely working, or is it just that you enjoy talking about things so much that you're like, oh, this is an opportunity?
Well, you know what I love is when students think they're being sly about it. And I'm like, well, hey, I had 20 minutes to fill in our lesson, so this is working out perfectly. Or they think they can get out of doing something, and I'll be like, okay, now that we've wrapped that up, back to what we were going to do. We're not going to forget about the quiz today. Sorry. But I enjoy it. I just enjoy conversations with students. So
yeah, we can field it, as Ms. McCort is saying. Like, if we're down to spend a long time on this, we'll just go with it. You might think you're doing like something like sneaky, but we're down. But then yeah, we'll try and bring it back. It's funny though. It's funny.
Yeah. At least in my world, I have no problem putting off an assignment to talk about my trip to Europe or something. Whatever kids want to talk about. I always feel that it gives us a better relationship. Where I can relate to students, and then you find out really cool things about students once you open up as a teacher. And to me, that's often more important than
Oh no, I got moved.
Had a strong
moved.
impression. Oh, it's all good. Was one of my calculus professors in college. You know how like you just have big classes, but she was just, going to UC Davis. Those professors like don't care about you, but she was a great teacher. I learned so much from her, but not only that, she cared about all of her students. And you could see that through her teaching, through how she made the effort to try to get to know you, regardless of the number of students she had. So I think she definitely, I aspire to be her. Wow. Obviously not in the college setting, but in the high school setting. Yeah. And so, yeah. That's a positive. Obviously, I think we've all have had like negative teachers. Mine was my 6th grade teacher. She made me cry. So definitely something I don't want to be. So I have the positive and the negative, and so I know what to do and what not to do.
And let it be known that you came in here and we were talking this entire time.
Yes.
None of us were muted, and we were getting to know each other. So any students watching can file this one away. You did not catch us.
And I
Yeah,
like
talking.
breakout rooms. I like connecting.
Ooh, okay.
Yep.
Use it to your advantage. Build those
Yeah.
connections.
Yeah.
We should have just trolled you when you came in and
I
turned off
thought
our
about it.
videos. And
Or
then
like-
we could just be like,
Gave one of
Yeah.
these.
you know,
Yeah.
we should have just trolled. Missed opportunity.
Yeah, man. I think
Right.
the line that a lot of students would send back is, "But that's social interaction. I don't support it." I can't pull up the
come
image right
on.
now. It's a screenshot from a video, I think, by Scott the Was. But yeah, that's the line right there. That's social interaction, man. It's not allowed. We're
Oh,
all
come on.
cozy
We
in our
love
rooms.
social interaction.
I know we've been like craving it.
Yeah. We crave it.
Yeah, I don't know when they're gonna pull me back because I guess I'm just being moved without me choosing to. So
That's
is that-
fine.
yeah, so I'm guessing you guys were on the last question then.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
Well, we'll emulate.
Uh-oh. Did my
Ask
connection die?
you like what's something like that you would want a teacher to ask, not
Yeah.
about grades or schoolwork.
Honestly, it would be great for a teacher to ask, like, is this lesson actually working? If that makes sense.
Like
'Cause that-
feedback.
Yeah, because I won't I obviously won't name names, but there are certain subjects where the lessons can feel kind of forced. That makes sense. Like, it's instead of encouraging us to learn, it's just dropping things onto us and hoping that we do end up picking something up. It is really interesting, and it definitely creates that feeling of like you understand us when the teacher is willing to sit down and say like, okay, well, if I'm teaching you guys need to show that that you're learning the things that I'm teaching you. So am I doing things the right way? Things like that. Just sort of coming down to that open level. So like, okay, both of us can do things wrong and both of us can do things better. So let us know.
I love that. I'll try to
yeah.
make sure I build that into my lessons tomorrow and next week. Just make sure. I think that Soumya will attest to the fact that I've been like, did that work? And they've been like, no. I'm like, okay, I'm sorry.
Do you ask the whole class like if that worked, or do you ask like a couple of students that you're close with, or
No,
how do you usually?
anytime I try something new, I preemptively tell them like, never done this before,
Mhm.
get into it. And then I always ask at the end, like, was it too much time? Did that feel effective? Was it not effective? Tell me
Yeah.
why. And again, I think like I benefit from having 12th graders in that situation.
Definitely. I think I really like teaching the older students because they are mature and they will give you constructive feedback, right? I think that's so important, getting constructive feedback. Sometimes it's like, no, it was boring, but it's like, okay,
Yeah.
what about it was boring, right? Was it boring because you know, like, was it because
you
it
were
was too
you were
long,
staring
or were
at
you
each other, not
asleep?
talking.
Exactly. So I think that's awesome that, you know, your seniors are able to give you that kind of feedback.
Okay, that's a minute left. One last thing that I would like to say is that a student perspective that I think is important is that when we give feedback, when it's through those feedback forms, obviously it's understandable because those reach lots of people in a really short amount of time. But having a conversation like this, to give feedback with teachers, at least in my personal experience, I feel like that's a lot better than just turning in a form, because then I'm able to, you know, have this back and forth between like, oh,
Yeah.
if I bring feedback, you can respond to it with how you're gonna
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you. I like this.
Thank you for
I'm gonna-
letting us know.
Yeah.
I like to do both so that you can like have that. And then those that really have something to say, you give them that venue to do it.
Yeah, this is the benefit of being the stream master, because they can't get rid of me, so I can just hijack it to ask my own questions. All right.
That's
Regular music
awesome.
closing. Okay,
All right.
Here we go.
Chem this year, and I have Ms. Morgan for that, and I see videos for the labs like that, and I've seen Ms. Hall in a few of them as well.
Oh.
We were talking about labs and like how you guys are like teaching
Oh yeah, I feel so bad for you because honestly, like I love some of those labs, and you guys not being able to do that, it just kind of is like, ugh, I wish you can be there, you know. But
I miss my escape rooms, like the activities. Is that what you're talking about? Sorry, my partner was like running away, but I heard like.
What escape rooms? I wonder. My sister's here and she has you, so she's wondering like. What?
Oh, hey! Oh my God! Sorry, yeah. There's no escape rooms this year in the same capacity, but I have like lock boxes and like locks and invisible ink, and that's like one of the things that.
You really want to be a spy?
I'm telling you, full circle. Full circle, yeah. Sorry, I got excited.
I'm so sad we can't do those now.
That sounds really fun.
Come back next year. I'll set one up.
Yeah, juniors, just take sci-fi. Or Mr. McKeon said you teach all the senior English, or
no, I teach expository or sci-fi, but I'm probably teaching people, places. I forget the name, but it's like a global English class. They changed the name on me. That's not just my bad. And expository and sci-fi next year.
Okay, yeah, juniors take those. I saw the people places one on the like course selection sheet, and I was like, that sounds really interesting. I'm wondering who.
I'm glad you think so. Yeah, I hope I get to teach it.
Yeah, that sounds really cool. Well, okay, we were watching the breakout rooms on our own screens, and Romeo hopped in, and I love how, like, when he hopped into Mr. McKeon, Mr. McKeon was like, let it be heard, no one was muted. Like, yes, I love that. I bet you guys are all having amazing conversations. We heard the High School Musical, the series. I don't even know the full.
I love that show.
I think every student who's watching this has a connection to that show. So, yes.
Do you know all the drama?
Oh, with Olivia Rodrigo and the boy and like, yes! Oh yeah, I know all about that. Oh yeah.
Okay, you guys, but everyone watching, you see, come into your teacher's office hours, start talking about driver's license, have a good time, you know, it'll be great. Okay, so it is past 5 and we want to respect all of your guys' time. So we're gonna start like kind of the last comments, like what teachers, if you thought about like what you want to leave for this live stream, what you want to tell your students in the last few minutes. So whenever anyone is ready, you can unmute and go ahead and say your tidbit. Elephant in the room will also say some things to the teachers. So yeah, and then we're gonna close the live stream after that. So if any teacher wants to start.
You also gotta remember to take the photo for the live stream.
Oh yeah. Hang back, we're gonna take a photo.
Right at the end though.
Yeah.
Sorry, go. I was just going to keep mine short and sweet. We miss you. We miss having you in class. And so please talk to us, chat with us in the chat and Zoom, because we miss the connections that we normally have with our students. And we're trying the best we can. And we realize everyone is going through something different right now. And just the more that you can communicate with us, the more we can help you. And that's what we're all here for. Ultimately, at the end of the day, that's what we're here for.
We second what Ms. McCort said. We're here, guys. We really care. We love you. This sucks for all of us. I can't wait to be back on that campus with everybody.
How about, oh, never mind. I was just gonna say, and to make it faster, how about like each teacher just popcorns another teacher?
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll go. Just to piggyback on, we miss you guys and we care. And we just want to give you the best experience that we can. So just take advantage of that if possible. But we are here for you and we miss you. And if you need anything, you could just reach out to us. So yeah. Popcorn, Mr. McKeon.
Everything they've said so far about the love and like this experience is actually like kind of reminding me of all that, which I think I really needed. So thank you all so much for hosting us. Also, let's not normalize something that is not normal. The fact that we have become accustomed to Zoom, the fact that we are going through our day to day, like this is something that we should be doing. The fact that we're resilient doesn't mean we should be doing this, right? And so really give yourself some reprieve and some love because this is really hard. And we are all doing the best we possibly can, I'm sure of it. Oh, and popcorn, Miss Mo. Did you go yet?
I have not. Thank
I
you.
didn't think so.
Yeah, I'm super excited to meet you all in person, you all here and you all out there. I had something going back to the first question that I couldn't put into words yet, but I'm going to try to right now very succinctly, the question about grief. A lot of times we talk about grief like a noun, like a thing. This is a cup. Grief is a thing like that we can hold. And we say handle grief, like I'm handling my lunch, like I'm handling this computer, like a thing you can just deal with. I would encourage you, if you are feeling things, to turn it into a verb and just grieve. And that allows it to be a thing that you do, not a thing that you have or have to put away or have to get past or have to whatever. Just let it be a thing that you are doing. And that can be grieving the fact that you are missing your senior year. That could be grieving a loss in your life. That could be grieving a family member or a pet. But let it be a thing you do instead of a thing you have to, I don't know, put somewhere. Just an offering.
I'll go next. I guess I just want to leave everyone with that same sentiment about how much we miss you, how much we love you. Also just some advice to, try and operate with forgiveness for yourself and others. Advice that I don't always live by, but try and do is to ask for help when you need it. And I'll tell you, I struggle with it, but right now, just go for it. Ask for help if you need it. And yeah, we love you guys. And I'll pass this on to Miss Lucia.
Yeah, I resonate with what everyone has said. And I think I would tell my students that I understand that this is difficult because I also too find it very difficult. And to make sure you have self-care and define what self-care means for you. Like self-care for me means getting up, doing 10 minutes of yoga, taking a walk with my family, making sure I get outside, doing the things that I love. It also means observing how I'm feeling, that I'm not always going to feel 100%. And you need to define that self-care for yourself and find that routine for yourself so you can do all the things that are difficult. Because even though I think what I would say is life is difficult right now, but life will be difficult again in the future, even after we go back. And so try to find the blessings in the life lessons that you're learning now. I know that I have many blessings. I also have many things that I'm frustrated with, but at least I can focus on those blessings to help me with what's frustrating. And I hope that you can find that for yourself because you're the only one who knows you and how you're dealing.
That was also lovely, everything that all of you guys said. I know some Elephant in the Room members have things to say. Any of you guys want to start?
I just wanted to come out and say real quick that I don't have any of you guys as my teachers, and I'm really appreciate the fact that you guys took your time and came here, meeting students that you don't necessarily have any connection with, and talking to you guys and, answering our questions that we have. And I get it's not easy communicating with students or doing anything right now through Zoom, and that we would all much rather be, in person and such. And I just want to say thank you. And on behalf of not just Elephant in the Room, but all students, we really do appreciate all of you guys for all the work you guys are putting in. It's not easy, and we just want to say thank you.
Yeah, and also to go off that first, on behalf of Elephant in the Room, I want to say thank you guys so much for coming to join with us. And you guys made this such a fun and interesting and just really awesome live stream, so thank you. And just on behalf of all the students and myself, like, hearing you guys talk was just so like interesting, and like I could really empathize with you guys, because like even when you guys were like asked about like your own struggles, like, and like your guys' own teaching struggles, because I know how hard that is for like teachers over Zoom, you guys still like talked about like the student struggles and like how hard it was for the students. And like I just thought that was like so, like teachers are just so compassionate and selfless. And like even just talking to you guys right now, I just feel like I just know all of you guys on such like a deeper level. And it's just so sad that like we can't be in person together, and so sad that students can't get to know you this way. But yeah, it's really I'm just saying, I just wanted to say that. But yeah, it's, you guys are just awesome, incredible people, and I literally feel like you guys are just a bunch of friends now. So I hope to see you guys soon, and to all my teachers in my classes, thank you guys. And Ishori, I think you want to go next.
Throughout high school, teachers have pretty much been like my saving grace. When I was at my lowest points and I didn't have anyone to turn to, I knew that I could go to teachers who I could trust. And there was never, I mean, there were moments where I was shot down, but it was never by a teacher. And I think that's what makes Dublin High so great. I like, without teachers like Miss Hollison, Mr. Mann, Miss Sheaff, like I wouldn't have like the empathy that I do today, and I wouldn't have made like connections that I know I'll have like forever. And it just really sucks that we can't like talk as freely as we used to. But I'm extremely appreciative of the strength that you guys have to come on here and teach your students every single day, look at a bunch of empty squares most of the time. And I think it's really awesome. And especially as a senior, I don't know if we're going back, and that also is really difficult for me. Because like I really thrive around people, so like being at home isn't always like the most optimal situation. But I know that you guys will be there for me when I need you. So yeah.
So sweet. Oh. And then for what I wanted to say, it's just thank you guys for being so open. I'm actually really glad that we had this opportunity, because I don't have all of you as teachers, but now I want you guys as my teachers. So maybe like senior year, I'll come find you guys, because you guys are so nice, so open, and so welcoming. And yeah, thank you.
Yeah. All right. Everyone, I can't say anything to the teachers hasn't already been said. Thank you all. You're all super open. It's really great to have you all here. So I'm going to address my message to the students. So number one, everyone watching the stream right now, and everyone who's looking back through the YouTube auto upload, like the automatic archive upload. Remember what you heard here, right? Like teachers, human beings. Also, they were not the viewers. You were not here for our beginning icebreakers, so you don't know who I'm talking about. I will not tell you who, but at least one teacher here can and would beat you up if you don't be nice. All right, so practice empathy. Be kind, be understanding. Don't make assumptions about people, especially your teachers, because these are the people that are gonna mostly, well, not control, but they have a huge part to play in your future, especially for those of us that are starting in our college applications process. I mean, these are our mentors for now. These are the people that are going to be writing our letters of rec. They're going to aim you. They're going to guide you towards wherever you're going to be in the near future.
Okay. So what I have to add to this is this conversation, like the teacher and student conversation about mental health, this has been something that's like been brewing in me for like over a year. I know we've been planning it for like about a month, but I can specifically pinpoint this moment where we were at school still, and it was with Miss McCort. I was in Miss McCort's classroom, and I don't remember what we were talking about, but Miss McCort said something like, your guys' mental health impacts like teachers so much. And she said something like that. And I know that stuck with me for so long. And that was what wanted me to be like, we need to have this conversation between students and teachers just to break down barriers, because you guys care so much. Like, it's unbelievable. Like all my other elephant in the room people were saying, you guys care so much, and it's kind of insane. And just like letting students know that you guys are here is so important, but also letting teachers know that we appreciate you so much. Like our icebreaker was, what is some like outlandish like job that you would want to have? But I want you guys to know that we see all of you guys as superheroes. Like, you guys are literally our superheroes, and it's kind of insane how much we love you. And so we just want to let you guys know that, and to thank you so much for joining us on this conversation. And I think it went so well. Like, I am so happy with how it went. Like, I was shaking before the live stream, hoping it would go well, and now I'm shaking because I'm like, it went so much better than I thought it could. But yeah, so I think this is a really good place. Unless someone has anything else to add, this is a really good place to end the live stream. Teachers, I'm going to ask you guys to hang on so that we can take our live stream photo. But yeah, thank you all in the audience for coming. Stay tuned for more updates. We're going to be hosting more events, so thank you guys. And Romeo, whenever you stop the live stream, give us a thumbs up.
I'm not sure where Mr. Mann went, but it's okay.
Yeah. He was in my breakout room. He had to go somewhere. He had something. Yeah.
Yay. Okay.
Thank you
guys.
Thank you all so much.
Bye, guys.
Thank you. Great job.
Yeah, thank you all again.
Bye.
I know.
Don't cry.
Hopefully we'll see y'all soon.
Yeah.
I really want to visit all of you guys now.